everyone, welcome to Not My Post. Today's episode features some top posts from r/justnomother-in-law, so let's get straight into it. Mom attempted kidnapping my son. I'm a single mom. At the time this happened, I had no other help besides my mother, who was a terrible mother-in-law to my ex-husband. She also had a very unhealthy obsession with my first ex-husband, who was physically abusive to me, hence my divorce from him. She moved him into her home after I left him. Yes, that was my mother, not my mother-in-law. I have two sons. One is 11, one is nearly 13. My mother took my 11-year-old son on a trip to visit her parents and sister. While there, she called me claiming my son woke up with strep throat. First of all, strep was not going around at the time where we live. Second of all, she has a history of calling and claiming the kids are sick. Only when I get them, they don't even have a fever. She also tends to make the kids think they have lice when they don't, allergies when they don't, and so on. Then when I check them and point out the very obvious fact that the kids are fine, she acts like I am a bad mother. It's frightening in the way she tries to frame me. So, she called me claiming my son woke up with strep throat. I immediately asked her if this was a case of her pretending he is sick. She gets mad and says she has never done that, and I say take him to the doctor. Apparently he does have strep throat, and when they return home he has antibiotics. She was right this time, but unfortunately I believe she told my family that I claimed he wasn't sick. Strike one. He really appeared to have a mild cold, but of course I gave him the antibiotics, and he rested up and was feeling fine the day I went to work. She had gone behind my back and texted him and asked if he wanted her to take off work and stay with her. He said no. Then he told me about their conversation. I have told her for years to not ask the kids about plans until speaking to me. I decided to let it go. I'm tired of fighting with her. I had to work, I don't get sick leave, and I also didn't have the option to not go to work that day. I would get written up if I didn't. My mother refuses to keep her house temperature above 60 degrees. Not kidding, that's one reason why my son did not want to go. And I believed his symptoms would return if he stayed there that day. He has a cell phone if he needs to get a hold of me, food in the fridge, and he's fine on his own during the day. So I went to work. On my way there, my mother called me and asked if she could take him to her house for the day. I said that he didn't want to go, that he was fine at my house. She kept pushing, started getting nasty, accusing me of not caring about his safety. What if he has an allergic reaction to the antibiotics? He had been taking them for days and has never had an allergic reaction to anything in his life, and so on. I said he is fine, and I have no choice but to go to work. She said, I don't believe you that you have no choice. I said that I didn't owe her any explanation, because she is not his mother, and she needs to butt out. She then said, well, then, face the consequences. She hung up on me. 2 hours later, she texted me asking if she could visit my older son at school, and bring a treat to my younger son at home. I ignored the text because the answer was no. I was busy working, and I didn't want to get into a fight. I knew she was going to meddle in some way if she visited the kids. I texted my son and told him not to let her in if she came by. Unfortunately, he didn't see the text, because he was napping. He woke up to her knocking on the door, and answered it. She let herself in, and put on a huge show, acting like he was in danger. Are you okay? Is everything fine? Remember, she tends to try to make the kids think they are sicker than they are. It's a mind game. He said he was fine. She said that I sent her there to pick him up. He said he didn't want to go to her house, that I had told him that morning that he could stay at home. She questioned him as to why he didn't want to leave with her. He kept saying he didn't want to go, and then after she wore him down, he finally said okay, and went to get his phone. When he opened his phone, he saw the text from me telling him not to go with her. And he knew she had been lying. He came up with an excuse, said he changed his mind, and finally she left. Then he called me, crying, upset because he was shocked to see how far she would go to get what she wanted. I tried calling her but her phone was turned off for the first hour I tried to reach her. So I texted her telling her she was no longer allowed at our home or the kids' school. She finally texted saying she took my non-response to her text that morning as permission for her to go. I said that was rubbish, and that was it. My grandparents and aunt no longer responded to my emails or pictures of the kids. I never said a word to anyone about what happened, because I knew she would have already lied to them, and my family never has my back over hers, no matter what she does. Months go by. Peace and quiet. Then she started trying to make dinner plans, acting like nothing happened. After several attempts on her part, I confronted her, and she attacked. It was made clear that my family does not want to speak to me until I let things go back to normal with her. How can I? I'm worried she'll try to kidnap my kids again. So I said that's fine, I don't need people who only love us conditionally. I guess this is just a vent. I don't need any judgment, got plenty of that from them, or advice. We are in the process of moving to a new home they don't have the address for, and I'm in the process of changing jobs, so we will be off the radar and headed towards a better life. I found a good babysitter who I send the boys to when I'm not home in case she stops by again. I'm just disgusted that after all of the horrible things she has done, including reading and shredding all of my journals when I was a depressed teenager, she did this, and then intentionally turned my family against me, knowing that would leave me high and dry. My husband is my hero today. Mother-in-law is here this week to look at retirement communities near us. The two we are looking at are about an hour away and very nice. She came in yesterday afternoon, and we met her at the airport. First question out of her mouth, when greeted by her son, daughter-in-law and only grandchild. Why didn't you get a sitter? We tell her there was no need, we thought she'd like to see daughter, and daughter has never not been with one of her parents or close family friends, so why would we get a sitter? Mother-in-law responds that we're spoiling that girl, and something about, this is how she'll turn out like. I blink. I hope so. I am her mother. Mother-in-law makes a noise, and finally looks at me. She knew I was pregnant. We told her. But I don't think she really absorbed this until she saw me. I am a small woman. I just am. And husband is a big guy who makes big babies. So, it is obvious. Mother-in-law has to have another jab. Well, she won't be spoiled when you have that one. Don't you people believe in birth control? I have no words. I look over at husband. This is the sort of situation we've discussed in detail, but he is already handling it. He has paper out, and is writing down an address. It's her hotel. He hands it to her, and puts down her bag. She looks at him like she is crazy. Asks what he's doing. That's the hotel address. For the cab. She says she thought we were taking her. We were going to get a cab with her, do the dinner obligation, and then I was going to avoid her as much as possible for the week, which with how she is, and the plans, would be easy. Husband answers, you made it clear you wouldn't want to be with my wife and that girl. You will not be rude to, or about my wife. You will not be rude to, or about my children. She stares at him, mouth open. He goes on, I am going home with my family. There is a nice restaurant near the hotel. Get some dinner. We will see you to look at the places. Have a good night. She has no time to reply. He puts his arm around me, and sort of guides me and the stroller out. I love this man. Colonel Waterworks stars in Emergency Room Tantrums. Hey guys. Of course my crybaby military just-no-mother-in-law wouldn't calm down after the wedding. Yay me. Here's another story that happened just last night, so strap in because, here, we go. Alright. So I've been having some general health issues, mainly awful dizziness. Dear husband took me to the emergency room as it was a Sunday and all other offices were closed and I was feeling pretty sick. We get to the emergency room and they draw no blood work, don't check anything but squeeze on my face a bit and check my motor skills. They decided it's just congestion pressing on my inner ears. So they give us some decongestant and send us home. 3 days later, Wednesday, I had been in tears for 2 nights in a row because of how awful I felt, and Wednesday morning I couldn't stand at all. Husband was quite worried and decided I needed to go back. We get taken back straight away after I was given something to help with the looming nausea feeling. Now, both times I'd been admitted to the hospital, after telling our families I was there and why, I would post on Snapchat, because I'm a whiny little bitch, and also because that's how my closest friends and I keep up with each other. I forgot it's the one social media I haven't blocked Colonel Waterworks from, as I don't use it that much. This time was much more scary and intense. They immediately stick me with an IV to take blood work and give me fluids. No one had told me that the medicine I was given the first time was supposed to make me very thirsty, and since I hadn't been feeling well, I hadn't been drinking much anyway. So I was pretty dehydrated. While we wait for results, I post a short funny clip of husband being a little squeamish about the IV to help lighten the mood, and I also posted the Snapchat story. Finally, they take me back for a CT scan to double-check my brain isn't bleeding, and pitching a fit to cause the dizziness. While I'm away, my phone is on silent but ringing off the hook. Obviously I'm in a big machine getting photos taken of my brain. I don't answer. The very kind nurse takes me back to my room and helps me get comfortable back in my bed, and husband and I are both startled by his phone ringing. It's Colonel Waterworks, of course. Husband rolls his eyes so hard and answers the phone. I can faintly hear Colonel Waterworks sobbing. "What's wrong with your wife? Is it the baby?" "What?" Husband and I share a furious glance. "What baby?" Of course there's dead silence before. "Isn't your wife pregnant?" No, she's not." "Why on earth would you think that?" All we hear is loud sniffling. Husband gives a furious look around at all the machines I'm hooked up to, and with almost terrifyingly serious tone asks, "What did you do?" Guys. I was scared of him for a moment there. Colonel Waterworks starts to shriek and cry and blurts out, "I poked your honeymoon condoms with a pin. I just wanted babies. I'm so sorry." Husband hangs up. After a long moment of silence, I start to giggle and husband looks confused before slowly starting to chuckle too. The honeymoon condoms were for fun, not protection. Guys, we're talking strawberry-flavored, glow-in-the-dark type condoms. I'm on the pill that she never found and assumed the only protection was those condoms. We're back to our home overseas, so she has no way to get to us to mess anything else up. And it's such a breach of privacy and so incredibly unforgivable. But it was just the break in tension we needed, was to laugh at her stupidity. Colonel Waterworks is still groveling to get in our good graces, but we haven't so much as opened her Snapchat that she is now blocked from. No one in our family will give her info on me, as we told them the truth and they are a steel trap about my health now. We still haven't found the root of my dizziness, but I'll be seeing a specialist and they gave me some medicine to help manage the symptoms, and I feel much better today. Minus the bruising from the IV. That's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. See you then.